Welcome, everyone, and happy Friday. It's great to have you all with us today. My name is Rosa.
And I'm Nessa, and welcome to Chat with Rosa and Nessa. This week we have phenomenal Christonya Graham, minister, mom, entrepreneur, business owner, forex trader, grandmother, believe it or not, even though she looks 12 herself. And we want to welcome her to the show. Phenomenal woman. I've gotten to know this woman, and you're going to really enjoy her this evening. We're so excited to have you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thank you all.
Yes, I'm going to kick it over to my partner in crime, Rosa, to start this interview off with Christonya.
Thank you very much. Again, it's a pleasure to have you, Miss Christonya. And the first thing I do want to ask is, we all have different ways in which we were introduced to forex, and some of us didn't know anything before getting started with IM. So I want to ask, how did you learn about forex? And did you know about IM before you got started? And when did you get started?
So I was introduced to the business back in July by a family member, by my cousin Ashley, who had entered the business about a month or so prior to me. And so I had no idea about I Am Master Academy prior to the introduction. Although I knew a little bit about forex, I knew nothing compared to what I know today. And I've been in the business probably about 6.5 months.
Awesome. So when you got started with IM, I know we have this slogan of run the play. Were you in it like once you first got started, or were you just trying to get an understanding of how everything was? Or did you have a moment in time where you sort of stopped and had to like regroup yourself?
So in the beginning, I was in the academy all the time because it was intriguing. The information was just so much. I found myself saying, I'm going to start with an hour. However, that hour turned into probably like 2 hours because I kept clicking on videos after videos after videos. But then I found myself going back and rewatching, taking notes, making sure I grasped the understanding, because I realized that I was watching for completion and not for content. So certain videos I had to go back and rewatch just to get the contextual information and to be able to make sure that I had a good understanding of what they were sharing with me.
Okay. So going off of that, what has been your overall experience, with trading and going to the academy, spending all that time, because we have such great educators and we have such an amazing platform with the academy and being able to learn all that great information. So what has that overall experience been for you?
I have no complaints whatsoever. I can tell you that having to have paid off college tuition and looking at what the information I received in college has led me to in my career, during not my regular 9 to 5, I can honestly say that what I invest in myself by way of this educational platform, listen, it has paid for itself multiple times over. I have no regrets. I believe that it is something that I can also share, like with my grandson who's 4, because he always asks me, "Yaya, what's that red thing? What's that blue thing?" And so I let him ask those simple questions because I know that in a minute, I'm going to be able to explain that to him to where he can understand and be able to trade himself. So my overall experience with the I Am Master Academy in the academy with the videos has been probably just so it's been a cakewalk actually, because but I'm able to stop, pause, take notes, go back in, be able to just enjoy the experience versus being, in a instructor-led environment where I'm rushed through, and then once I'm gone, I'm gone, and then once my $10,000 or $15,000 is gone, then I'm gone, then it's over. But I have the opportunity to go back and rewatch and to get more understanding.
Absolutely. It's about enjoying the process. So what major thing have you learned, or what are you learning with trading? Because I know some people might say patience and other stuff. So what's been one major thing you've learned, with learning the skill set of trading and not just going in and being and rushing, if that makes sense?
I would have to say that, in the beginning, I was like, I wanted to take every trade, and I was rushing through. But I believe the payoff is better when you have that understanding. So when I was able to go back and understand what a bearish market and a bullish market was, and I was able to understand, balance and imbalance, and I was able to understand, when the market was compounding, when it was doing some crazy stuff, I could understand it and properly define it, if you will. That made the difference in my success in the market. So I have to say, like, the opportunity is it's like, to me, a no-brainer. I mean, I hate to say it that simplistic, but it's a no-brainer. Like, you know, you have that hand. It's not like you're locked out. Like, you have 30 days to complete this and then you're locked out. That would be a different experience, but that's not the experience here.
Absolutely. And one major thing I can say here, and everyone can attest to this, is that our mentorship is amazing. I've learned so much, you know, with being a part of this opportunity,
Yes.
and so many others have as well. So what can you say about the mentorship here? Because we have such phenomenal leaders that pour into us each and every day.
Mentorship. I can honestly say I wasn't expecting that to that level, to that degree. I expected to have some type of involvement, but I did not expect to have what we get on a Sunday night. You know, I did not expect to have a David Emanitier. I didn't expect to be able to, you know, listen to and sit at the feet of Bob Proctor. I didn't expect to be able to listen to our leader, you know, Bianca. I didn't expect to get that morning motivation because I had my own devotional and, you know, motivation that I do in the morning anyway. So that was an extra plus. That was a bonus for me. Actually, that was probably another added sprinkle onto my decision. Actually, me loving my decision was that.
Yes, because you're learning such an amazing skill set. So what has I Am as a whole done for you, and not only for you, but your family as well?
It's given me an opportunity to share something. Like, being in ministry and being able to share the word with individuals, and being able to share and impart what the word says about our lives, about our future, about our present, about our now. Being able to pray for people, you know, that this is just the added bonus, because I'm at a point where I'm no longer trying to do it all for individuals. It's like, you know, instead of feeding someone, I'm teaching them how to fish. So I'm doing exactly what I'm doing with the word. I'm teaching them, like I teach them scripture and how to go to the word and be able to, you know, find out where they can go and get help for whatever situation they may be going through in their life, right? I'm able to now say, you know what, this experience right now has the, you know, opportunity, you know what, to change your, you know, your life forever. Like, it can change what you're going through. So that part of your life will never be the same anymore. And so versus me saying, you know what, opening up my wallet and saying here, which I don't mind because I'm a giver by nature, I can say, let me teach you how you can have a residual income. You have residual bills, you know, you have daycare, you have car payment, insurance, but let me teach you how you can have income coming in and not have to worry about that stress. You know, that COVID-19, what happened during COVID-19, we can take the edge off. You know, we can take the edge off with this experience. And that's what it's been able to do for my family. Those people that are attached to me by blood, by spirit, and by assignment. That's what I've been sharing with them. Whether they come in right there on the spot when I share that information with them, you know, most of them come back later after they see, you know, posts on social media, or they hear somebody say, you know, did you hear, you know, about Bitcoin? You know, Chris got in Bitcoin, you know, or what have you, you know. Then they come back and they remember what I told them before and say, you know what, hey, cuz, you know, hey, Minister Graham, you know what, can I talk, hey, Ladybug, can I talk to you for a second? They want to know. You know, I'm getting text messages now because of the lives that we're doing, because of, you know, platforms like this. They want to know now. So that now it's the seeds that are being planted.
Absolutely. I believe that everyone that joins I Am, like, their lives truly change and their mindset as well. I know I've been a part of I Am for about a year now. And when I first started, my mindset was completely different than what it is now. I wasn't much of a positive thinker. I wasn't necessarily writing down my goals all the time and speaking my affirmations and really visualizing what I wanted. And with being a part of I Am and having all these leaders pouring to us and getting closer to God, I've realized that this opportunity is doing so much for me. So I do want to ask, how has this opportunity really shifted your mindset? You know, I look at money different. I look at my life differently and what I speak out, because our words do have power. So how has your mindset changed?
I have to say my mindset has changed because I'm pushing myself in an area where I was complacent. Because I have a decent job, right? Let's be real. I have a decent job. You know, I make a decent amount of money, you know, and so that's a blessing in itself, right? But life has been life for me, just like it is anybody else. And so I had to put it in proper perspective, right? That what am I putting out and what am I able to save? Hardly anything during COVID because of what was happening in my life. So I said, you know what? I need to save beyond what the credit unions allow me to save. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed to make moves, and I needed the opportunity to make moves, legal moves, you know, moves that was going to know what not stop me from sleeping at night, legal moves that were going to allow me to keep my integrity intact. And so that's what it has added to me. You know, my mindset has shifted about, you know, how I go about working hard and expending so much physical energy. You know, I used to run here, there, and everywhere. You know, my nonprofit is called Shoes of Unique Purpose because I have multiple talents. So I can do hair, I can do braids, I can do weave, you know, I can do short hair, I can do whatever, and I can make a buck. You know, I know how to hustle and get it done. But that's expending a lot of energy, a lot of missing sleep, a lot of, you know, going from working all day long to doing extra hair and braid. You know, that's a lot. But now I can go and get my phone and put a trade in. What? And then lay down and go to sleep and wake up and say, oh, that's blue. Profit, you know?
Right.
It was a no-brainer. So my mind about money being a vehicle has shifted back to the teaching that I gained early on in life. You know, it made me go back to my first college classes that I took at the age of 14 at UDC. And I sat at the feet of Reverend Bebles, who actually marched with Dr. King, and also Dr. David Chapman, who also marched with Dr. King. And both of them have gone on to be going on to glory now, have passed on. But at 14 years of age, I took marketing and economics on Saturday at UDC and sat at their feet. And so this made me go back to that teaching, go back to what they imparted in me, and said, you know, this can be strange to you. We taught you this, you know. And so now that I know these things, it's allowing me to line it up right where we are in 2021. You know, it's a lot different than it was back there in the late 80s, early 90s. Now I'm dating myself, right? But now this has compounded and added on to that, right? And so now I'm in a different place.
Absolutely. And my last question for you, we all go through different trials in life. And I know in this business, we all go through many different trials. Many of us can attest to that. How do you sort of pull yourself out when you're feeling down and your mindset isn't what you necessarily have it as?
So I have to say, you know, my word, you know, reading my word is going to always be my foundation. But I have to be honest that when it comes to the business perspective, when those days when, you know what, I can still, you know, muster up enough strength to read my word, do my morning devotional. But it's those days and I feel like, you know what, I'm tired. Do I really want to go and trade today? Do I really want to, you know, get on social media? Do I really want to post anything? Do I really want to do it? It's those days I think about what we get, the audio of the month. And I think about those motivations that come on Sunday nights. And I think about the impartations at our motivational calls in the mornings at 8:30. You know, those are the things that reel me back in, you know. And that again goes back to the previous question about mindset, right? That's how it reels you back in. It gets you back in alignment, if you will. Because there have been times when life has been life for me, and I had to say, wait a minute, I had to think about that thing. You know, I had to think about, you know, shake it off. Shake it off. Life is going, you know, my pastor, my bishop, you know, she always talks about the vicissitudes of life. You know, it's just life being life. It's just like things are going to happen. And it doesn't happen because we're bad people. It's just the way life works. You know, we take the good with the bad, the bitter with the sweet, but in the end, it works together for our good. You know, it works for our good. You know, it's like having lemonade, and it might be sour today, but next week they add a little bit of sugar to it. You know, when we get a little bonus or, you know, things end up a little sweeter, it comes out for our good in the end.
Absolutely. And it's great when you have the right people around you as well. That really adds to it. So I'm going to pass it over to the lovely Vanessa Gilbert, and she's going to ask you some more amazing questions.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, being a person of faith, do you find that your faith has made it you're more disciplined in your mindset because you're a minister, you come from a background of faith?
One would think that would make it more disciplined, but in all honesty, there are days when I feel like I don't apply that discipline to the market. And when I don't apply that discipline, guess what? I can tell. And so what I really want to share is that the discipline that you have in your life, it has to spill over into every aspect in order for it to be a profit for you. Not just in money, but a profit in your mind, a profit in your heart, a profit in your spirit. Because here's the thing, we are magnets. And so whatever the energy is that we're giving off is what we pull back into us. And so on the days when I don't feel up to it, trust me, my success in the market will show that. It will give off that, you know. And so I have to say that I've had those moments where I'm not feeling it. You know, I'm just not feeling it, you know, applying myself the way I absolutely should. But I have to, you know what, do what I know how to do. I have to encourage myself and say, hey, little girl, listen, get your whole self together and let's do this, because you have a why, you have a purpose. There's people depending on you. You know, there's a message that I preach that somebody's waiting on you whatever your gifting is, there's somebody sitting in the marketplace waiting for your gift. They're waiting for your clothing line. They're waiting for your counseling, sessions. They're waiting for, that you to open your business, because that's going to be the job that they're already predestined to work at. So the longer we wait to do what we're assigned to do, then somebody else is sitting stagnant, right? Somebody else is hurting. Somebody else is needy. Somebody else is hungry. Somebody else is homeless because we've not shared this opportunity. So that kind of gets me back in perspective, because it puts me back to where I was, being recently separated and, going through divorce and, renting a room and doing all these things, and my life upside down. And I began to question God, and I said, God, why am I going through this? I'm a good person. I do for everybody. And God said, but if I don't take you through the valley and bring you out on the other side of truth, then you won't know how to have the compassion for the people that you come in contact with. And then you won't know how to understand how to love on them from an empathetic perspective, but yet show them how to get through without handicapping them. And that's the secret.
Wow, powerful, powerful. Now, you did talk about back in the day. We touched on that. And I'm an older Gen Xer than you, but you know what it's like. You already mentioned, it's like to have a side hustle, 2 or 3 or 4. Now, that's how we were raised. We were raised, look, you get the good grades, you get the good job, but you also had people had 2 or 3 side gigs, doing hair, multi-talented, because that's what you did. And you still have that ability. But now, how does it feel as a Gen Xer to just be able to, like you said, look at that phone, make that money, go to sleep, wake up to money, and not have to do all the side hustles, even though you still can, because our generation is very different. So I want you to speak to the Gen Xers and the baby boomers who grew up with a very different mindset than the millennials have. So can you speak on that?
I absolutely can, because I can also tell you, like I think I mentioned before, like, doing hair. Let's take that hustle. Doing hair, it takes time. I'm on my feet, so after working all day and then maybe going to a client and maybe doing a full weave or doing some individual braids, or, it takes time. I love doing it. I love being creative, but it's wear and tear on the body, right? And so for me, a person who works rather early, even though I'm teleworking now, I've always been that first shift, that early shift, at 6:30 in the morning. Guess what? That's a long day for me. So then my body feels stressed, and then I'm losing sleep. My eyes looking weary. I'm drinking coffee. I'm getting espresso shots. But now that I don't have to do the side hustle, I can say no if I want to. I can do it if I choose to. I sleep at night. My body is able to self-heal itself because I'm able to sleep that 7-8 hours that we're supposed to get. I never knew what that felt like. I'm being so honest with you. Even in the beginning of the COVID, I was still hustling. I was still doing meal prep. I was still doing the things that needed to get me through and get me over. And I promise you, the only meals that I've had to make and prepare for anybody outside of myself was my grandmother, who's 88, and my mother, and my sister when she broke her foot at the beginning of COVID, but that's because that was a family necessity. But I did not have to stand in front of a stove and prepare multiple meals for a whole week because I had to do it. So my body has had a release and a relief to the point that over the summer, I was outside running. I was outside jogging because I had a renewing in me. It's like my whole self. So it's not just a financial gain. It's a physical gain. It's a spiritual gain. It's a mental gain when you apply it the right way. And like I said, and my heart is right, because I know that I'm doing something that's not only going to benefit me, but my son and my son's son, and then his generation, and that's one of my affirmations now, that I want 10 generations after me to be able to do what? To be able to say, what, I can do this skill set. I can make it happen and not have to worry about it. That's it.
Wow. You already led to my next question. As a mom, now most people probably would not believe that you're a grandmother. They would not believe it. They would not believe that you have a grown son. I just fell out. When you first told me that, I'm like, I need to see some ID, but I didn't ask you to scan a driver's license, but I didn't really believe you. But as a mom and grandmother, why do you feel it's a priority? You already spoke on this, for parents to invest not only in themselves, but for future generations. You already talked about it, but can you expound upon that? Because a lot of people, they see, especially Gen Xers and baby boomers, not that they don't care, but, now it's important that we build that generational wealth. You touched on it because you have a son and a grandson, and you already proclaiming 10 generations on after you're gone that they're going to have wealth and have what they need. Talk to those who are older and set in their minds, that mindset, I'm good, I got my good job, how that is. Some people are like that. They don't know about generational wealth.
And so times have changed from when my grandmother, my parents were working, and they were told, we're gonna get a good job, we're gonna have a 401k, we're gonna have retirement, we're gonna have SSI, we're gonna have Social Security, we're gonna sit back and we're gonna retire in Florida, right? We're gonna retire in our and go back down south. Because a lot of people in the DMV migrated up this area from the south, right? And so that was working for them back then. But as time began to change, and as everything around us, the world beginning to change and evolve, and innovations that are happening, computers come into play, even more technology, even more. Now we have social media. Things are just absolutely not the same anymore. So to the Gen Xers and the baby boomers, listen, what the safety net that you all have with Social Security, and nobody has pension, nobody gets pensions anymore if you're not in public service. If you're not working for the federal government or state government, you're not a firefighter or police officer like my dad, you don't get those good pensions anymore. Whatever you put into your 401k is what you get out. There's very seldom companies nowadays that's going to match your 401k. And so that's what the difference is. So now in 2021, we have to be able to tap into a new opportunity that's going to replace what you all used to depend on. And so the sad commentary is there are individuals that are on the cusp of baby boomers and Gen Xers, that may not have that Social Security to depend on. They've worked 30 some odd years in federal government, state government, and they may not have what they thought they were depending on. So now their life is changing. So what we want to say to them is that we have something to supplement what you may not have access to. We have something that's going to take the place of what is being far removed from you little bit by little bit each year. We have something that's going to know what you won't even feel that missing piece. You won't even be able to, you be like, missing what? Missing where? I'm not missing anything.
Exactly, because they can. I do know some Gen Xers on the team. We have several of us, even though we're the minority of the company. There are a lot of people on the team that actually are doing really well, who are Gen Xers, who are filling that gap. Mm-hmm. So they won't miss that. They won't miss what they're not going to get. You're right. Absolutely. But what would be your message as a minister? Of course, we're going to tap onto the faith. What would be your message to those who are afraid of change? And Rosa, her famous saying, and this is not just Rosa, but she says it every week, your comfort zone is your broke zone. Those who are comfortable, like you said, they make a good DC area. You got some people who are upper middle income range, and they're comfortable where they are, even though they're not going to have enough to retire. They're comfortable right now with that salary. So what would be your message of faith to those who operate? I can't learn. I even talked to a lady recently. She's a Gen Xer. Girl, I'm too old to learn something new. I'm like, no, I'm a Gen Xer too. It's never too, late to learn. I've talked to quite a few lately who feel like, I would love to join, but I don't know, girl. I ain't studied in 30 or 40 years. What would be your message of hope to those overall? They don't want to make a change and they feel like they're too old to learn.
I would say that, what, in all thy getting, get understanding, because that's basically what it is. It's the lack of understanding. And so when we don't understand things and we don't have the wisdom to, so all wisdom is the application of knowledge. And so what they're afraid of really is getting that new knowledge, right? So getting the new knowledge is getting that understanding. And so that's scriptural, right? With all thy getting, get understanding. The same way you go to read your word, to comprehend the word, be able to break it down and apply it to your life, is the same way you learn the skill set. It's the same way you apply it to your life. Because here's the thing, there are scriptures that even encourage the investment, right? Because here, listen, we're going to talk about Ecclesiastes 11:1, right? It says, invest your money. Invest it. Let's talk about the man with the when people, the men were given the multiple of talents. One man was given one talent, one was given a couple, and one was given even more, right? And when the came back to say, what did you do with it? The man who had one talent buried it. He did nothing with it. Nothing, because he didn't know. Because he said, I didn't know what to do, so I kept it like this. What if we didn't share this with someone? Somebody still be homeless. I'll be still living in a room. Somebody would still be doing the things that were hurting them, that causing them pain and causing them to be able to, withdraw from the real world, right? If we didn't share it. We don't want to be like that person. The man that had two, that's what he multiplied it. So he was blessed beyond measure because he made it work for him, and so on, and so the other guy. So guess what? We cannot hide this thing. We can't take this and say, I don't want to share it, because that's selfishness. And if we're talking about foundation, God wasn't selfish. He wasn't selfish because he poured out everything to us. Matter of fact, he loved us so much that he gave us his son. That's a lot. Some patience. As a preacher, I heard a message that said, "Would you sacrifice your Isaac?" And I looked at my son and was like, "No, I'm not. That is not. That's not my. That's not my either. Thank you, Lord, for not giving me that assignment." But that's love. So we need to be able to, you know what, get out of our comfort zone. You know, we talk about it, we preach about it, but we gotta walk in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was told to go do what? Get your family and get to stepping and go into a new place. You don't even know where you're going, but just go. You know? So we believe that, right? But we don't want to apply it to our lives. We are the same people. We're not gonna get it right all the time. We're gonna mess up. Abraham messed up. He lied about who his wife was. I mean, it's in the word. I'm not making it up. The same things that are going on now in the world, it went on back then. There's nothing new under the sun. But there was a solution. There was a resolution, right? So back there in Jesus' time, talents was translated, you know, into money. So right now we're going to give our talents. These are now talents for us to be able to trade in the market with cryptocurrency and forex, right? This is a talent. We want to share it with you. We want to see it multiply. We don't want to hold on to it. Because if we share with you, then you share with someone else, guess what? We have now whole communities that have changed. Impoverished people have now been able to feed their children. And kids go to bed, you know, not hungry, with their stomachs not touching their back. That's what we do. We got to get unstuck. It's possible.
Yes. And can you speak on what you spoke on a couple weeks ago? We had the girlfriend chat. And you said, you know, it's time for those who are Gen Xers and baby boomers to make room for the next generation. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I'm going to speak on that. So here's the thing. As a Gen Xer, and I know everybody, it's hard to believe that I'm a Gen Xer, right? And so we have to get out of the way, right? There's so much going on. There's so much strife. And it's not always negative strife. It's because it's uncomfortable, because we're stuck like this, right? It's like being on a floor or in a crowded room where we have to move, excuse me, right? And so we want to understand why we're so uncomfortable. We're so uncomfortable with change because guess what? We're not at the level we should have been out of the way. So as the other generations are coming up behind us, we should have gotten on the elevator and gone to the next floor. But because now you have the Gen Xers mixing with the millennials, now, you know, and then you got the Gen Zs coming through the door, and now we're squished. And the resolution is learn something new and get out the way. Go to the next level. Make room on the floor beneath for them to come on up a little higher. Because here's the thing, we have to share. And the more elevation is a God thing, right? Elevation. And it's not just elevation when we talk about money and profit, because that's the extra, that's the bonus. But when you elevate your thinking and your mindset, you elevate your heart place, when you elevate your spirit, then guess what? That's a perfect alignment, and that takes you up. And then when you go up, guess what happens? Then the next group can come up. We make room. But when we don't move, we're stuck. You know what when people get stuck? Don't touch me. I don't like you. You smell this, that, and that. But if you weren't there, you wouldn't know. You would have no clue. So we really have to get out the way. Move, sis. Move, bro. We got to get out the way. Give them room to stretch out and spread their wings. Here's the thing. When a bird can't fly, there's something wrong with their wings. We can't fly if we like this. We got to be able to spread out and soar. I'm ready to fly. I don't know about y'all. I'm ready to fly. I'm ready to
ma'am.
fly.
Yes,
I'm ready
ma'am.
to fly.
Yes. Such words of wisdom. I just love you. I tell you. People probably think you 22, because that's how old you look, by the way.
Oh my God.
You and my husband, y'all have the Benjamin Buttons. You ever seen the movie Benjamin Button?
Yes.
Okay, were you squirming because that was you? You know you got that Benjamin. When you go to bed at night, you wake up a little younger the next day. I told my husband one night, you're going to wake up in a diaper because he's going backwards.
God.
He looks, y'all have the same thing. You don't age. Some people just have ageless faces, right? You look like you haven't aged in 20 years. Okay, I know that's God. But I want to ask you, you have touched on so many things. Any last words before we ask how people can reach out to you directly to get started with the opportunity? Anything on your heart, you know, that you want to share spiritually or scripture? I really want you to share from your heart. It's not a question. It's just anything that comes to you want to share.
You know, I do want to share something about changing, right? Your perspective is your own reality, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it's fact, That's just your reality, but that's your perspective. But I want to engage those who are listening now, who may be listening, who may come back and listen later. We have the innate ability to change our reality. We change our reality by the condition of our mind, by the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. We have the opportunity to change the way we think. So we, and the reason why I know we can do that, because you know what, we can intentionally change and unlearn what we've been taught. There's so many things in my life, that I've had to unlearn in order to get to a new healthy place, right? My eating habits, for example. And so what I'm saying is that give it a try, give it a change. It can. You're not too old to change. You only stay in that place because you choose to. God has given us the freedom and the liberty to be able to change our perspective by changing our reality. You change your reality by changing your mindset. It's like going from that left to the right side of money, right? We got to be able to know what to do with it. We got to go from that way we think over here to how we feel over here. We're not going to try to keep all the money in the savings account and only earn $1.95 worth of dividend at the end of the year, when we can go and that same money in the market and make thousands. It's a no-brainer. Change your reality, shift how you think. And I have to give credit to my bishop, my mother, that change your reality. You have the power to change your reality. You don't have to stay stuck where you are. You don't have to stay in that position. You have that resource. It's in here. It's in your belly. That's not something somebody can give you. You have to channel that from on the inside. That's my final words. You can do it. I don't care how old you are. You can change your reality by changing your mindset.
Yes, ma'am. Words of wisdom, words of wisdom. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Now, how can people get in touch with you directly to get started with this opportunity?
Wow. So directly on Facebook, I am Christonya Speaks. On Instagram, I am Truth Talk _she speaks. And let's see. If you want to reach out to me by text, you can reach me at 240-244-6872. And text that number, and I'll get back to you and just say, I am. I just need to say I am, and I know exactly what you want. Amen. So that's how you can reach me. I'm available. On Clubhouse, I'm at Mint Talk. Mint Talk. Mint was another word for money, right? It's another word for money. So at Mint Talk on Clubhouse, Christonya is not a very common name. And so guess what? There's another one in this area that she's named after me. And so, if you get her, you'll know to get out of it. And she's born on my birthday. It was a blessing. My coworker had her on my birthday. We were pregnant at the same time. So yeah. But that's how you reach me. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to even speak to you now, or if you watch the replay. Let's change together and grow.
Yes. And do you want to mention your YouTube? Don't you have a YouTube channel?
I do have a YouTube channel. It's under my name, Christonya Graham, and so you'll see Ladybug Speaks there. You'll get some tidbits, some funny stuff. Whatever God gives me, I give it to the people, rugged and raw. If you're looking for me in a hat and a St. John suit, you won't find it, but you might find me in the car. You might find me in the gym. However God gives it to me, I give it straight to you. No chaser, all Him. And when He says be quiet, I'm quiet, and I speak when He says speak.
Amen. Amen. I think you're phenomenal. I'm so glad, because I know you're busy. You have a lot going on, that you took your time to be with us this week. Rosa, do you have anything you want to say to Miss Graham before we let her go?
I just get so excited when you speak. You just say words of wisdom all the time. So thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you both for having me. It's a humbling experience. It is. I definitely enjoy both of you. I wish you both so much success. Rosa, I look up to you. Honestly, I look up to you as a millennial. Keep going. Keep going. Keep teaching us how to do it. Keep giving us that fire. We feed off your flame. And I can say that. I feed off your flame. I can learn from anybody. So keep going. Miss Vanessa, keep pushing. Keep leading from the front. Keep doing it. Keep going.
Thank you. Because like you said, sometimes you don't feel like doing things, but you have to be consistent. And I think it's been we'll have to find our anniversary date. It's been 7 months We've
Wow.
been, we haven't missed too many. We haven't missed any Fridays that we took off the holiday. So I want to thank Rosa because she's been right there with me the whole time. we have we have a unique relationship. Half the time I'm the administrative assistant, like the people know I'm her administrative secretary behind the scenes. But we have a great relationship, and we thank you for coming on. We thank you for your ministry. You're an example of faith, a woman of God, and so I look up to you because my mom was a minister, your mom's a minister, and I always honor those who are called by God, right, to give us the word. So I honor you in your life, and we want to announce next week. Guess who's with us? Mr. Alonzo Streets will be in the building. He got to go. His testimony that's going to be off the chain. So we want to thank you, Miss Graham, Minister Graham. Excuse me. We have to give respect where respect is due. And so, Rosie, you have anything you want to say before we go?
I can't wait to see each and every one of you guys at the top because the bottom is way too crowded.
Yes, and reach out to this phenomenal woman. She gave you her information. Remember, you want to get started today. You want to reach out to Christonya today. Let your yes today change your tomorrow. And so we'll always see you at the top because the bottom is not an option. We'll see you next Thursday with Mr. Alonzo Streets. Take care and have a blessed and phenomenal week on purpose.